Hey guys, what is up? My name is Frank Garcia, and today I have something a little different for you guys. So usually I try to focus the channel on gaming content, and with E3 coming up, there's going to be a lot of that. But also another thing coming up soon is the new Black Mirror season. So I figured, there's no better time to go back and kind of rate all the old episodes and see, how these new ones kind of rank in between them as well. So without further ado, let's just get started, guys. So to start off, guys, I'm going to go ahead and just put the National Anthem right in the good tier. So as the first episode of Black Mirror, it's kind of an interesting episode in that being that most episodes rely more on advanced technology and kind of how that affects society. Well, the National Anthem just relies more on kind of the Twitter age, right? How social media has an impact on, big events in society as a whole. And while I find it interesting and a well-directed episode that definitely keeps you on the edge of your seat, overall, it's just kind of a weird place for the whole series to start. It's, following this guy trying to save Princess Susanna by, just plowing a pig. That's, I don't know, it's kind of a very abrupt start to the series. And personally, after I was done watching, I didn't really know what to think. I thought the episode was good and interesting, but also just really weird. And I wasn't ready for that necessarily out of Black Mirror yet. I kind of wanted to see something, more tech-wise. And for that's why I can only really give the episode a good. It was enough to keep me interested and to want to watch more, but overall, it's nothing really to write home about. It's just an all right start to the show. So next up, we have what might be my personal least favorite episode. Either that or one you'll see coming up, but that's 15 Million Merits, which I'm going to put squarely in shit tier. So after watching the first episode of Black Mirror, like I said, I was kind of wishy-washy. I didn't really know what to think. I thought it was interesting, but also I was like, this wasn't what I expected. I felt dirty after watching that. And honestly, episode 2 just made it way worse. And the reason I say that is, honestly, 15 Million Merits is just really, really boring. Like, honestly, I felt like I was sitting there watching this guy run on a treadmill for over an hour. And it just wasn't that interesting. Like, I got the ideas of over-sexualization and, all that effects it can have on people and making everything just a game show and, trying to get out of this system. And then when you get out, you just kind of leave everyone behind. And, like, yes, that's interesting, but God, that execution was so bad in my opinion. I know people that like this episode, and I honestly don't understand why. I feel like there's so many other Black Mirror episodes that just offer so much more, just for so much more bang for your buck, and just are not super, super boring the whole time. So yeah, for me personally, 15 Million Merits is, honestly, I would literally recommend you just skip it. It is not fun. And yeah, the ending's kind of an interesting twist, but I mean, what Black Mirror episode isn't, right? So for the third choice on my list, you guys will be happy to know that this is the episode that actually brought me all the way back from saying, what is this series, to saying, I love Black Mirror. And that episode is Season 1, Episode 3, The Entire History of You, which I'm going to once again put squarely in God tier. And the reason for that is just, this episode just, I feel, embodies everything that a Black Mirror episode should be. It's talking about future technology and the effects that could have on society. It's talking about human nature. It's giving interesting premises, good twists. It's really just, in my opinion, kind of a perfect Black Mirror episode. And it's also one I think a lot of other people would agree is quite good. The premise for it I thought was so interesting. The idea that you can rewind time and just see everything that you saw previously, and then based on that, just see other people's reactions to you. It's such an interesting premise, and the idea rings very true. Because in modern day society, you might even feel someone looked at you a weird way or said something wrong, and you guys will talk about it, and eventually you'll work through it, right, and you'll forget about it. But with being able to just go back and see those recordings endlessly, you can kind of just relive that moment that pissed you off just nonstop. And the events that occur in this episode are just wild as well, which really, it was exciting. It's just an exciting episode, and this is an episode that really kind of encapsulates what Black Mirror should be. And like I said, it's the episode that made me a true fan. So now we're moving on to Season 2, guys. And for the first episode there, we have Season 2, Episode 1, Be Right Back, which I'm going to put in very good. This episode is just, honestly, it's kind of heartwarming. It's a very interesting idea of a woman losing her husband and then kind of having to get this weird, husk of a body back that just becomes her husband and kind of encapsulates all of his previous, quirks and everything like that. And it's just a very thought-provoking episode. It kind of asks the question, can you love, I guess, anything, right? As long as it has the necessary traits, as weird as that sounds. But I don't know. Overall, I don't really have much to say about this episode. It was very well directed. The actors did very well. One of the guys is from Ex Machina, which is my favorite movie. So, that's an easy choice right there. But yeah, it's just very interesting. And watching this woman kind of progress through these stages of like regret, denial, kind of accepting, and then overall kind of just learning to like hate, but also love the situation she's in. It's very interesting, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone. It's also an episode that's not as crazy as other episodes. So this is an episode, for example, I told my mom to watch because there's definitely some other ones I wouldn't. But yeah, overall, very good episode. So next on our list, guys, we have Season 2, Episode 2, White Bear, which I'm going to put at just an even par okay. White Bear is an interesting episode because it's one of those ones where throughout most of it, you're kind of like, what is happening right now? People are just like shooting at this girl in this weird town. Everyone seems really creepy. They have cameras. Like, I don't know. And then, the big payoff in the episode is, at the end you learn it's a game show and it's kind of showing, will society like turn bad just for, entertainment. But I don't know. Overall, I think the twist was good in this episode. But besides that, it was just a little dark, which, all Black Mirror episodes kind of are in a way, but this one just didn't really strike a chord with me. I didn't find it that interesting. It was just kind of, I don't know. Honestly, it was okay. I don't have much to say about White Bear. It's something you should watch, but it's nothing to write home about, in my opinion. So now we're moving on to Season 2, Episode 3, which once again is going to be right in the shit tier. So, Season 2, Episode 3, otherwise known as the Waldo Moment. Yeah, it's just a rough one, guys. Like, honestly, the Waldo Moment it's just weird and annoying. Like, Waldo himself, to me, is annoying. Every time I see him on screen, I'm like, yikes, get me out of here. Like, this sucks. Yeah, guys, I don't even want to talk about more. It's honestly just shit. Yeah, plain and simple. Luckily for us, though, guys, it seems like Black Mirror, every time they have a super bad episode, they follow it up with something just absolutely amazing, in my opinion. And once again, they do it with Season 2, Episode 4, White Christmas, which I am going to place right in God tier once again. To me, White Christmas is just a super entertaining episode once again. It's kind of just like the entire history of you in the sense that it has an interesting look at technology and showing how it could affect society with great acting, great twists, and just, I don't know, it's kind of a crazy episode. The idea of being locked in an egg for just these crazy amounts of time and just like losing your mind, it's super interesting. And also, just like I said, super well acted, very well directed, watching someone just not be able to see anyone because of, all the haze, the White Christmas it's kind of heartbreaking. And I don't know, the episode is, once again, it's just a classic. I think most people would agree White Christmas is right up there in the best episodes, no matter what tier list you're on. So yeah, guys, White Christmas is amazing. But without further ado, let's move on. So next up, guys, we're moving on to Season 3. And the first episode in Season 3 is one I think that a lot of people actually like quite a bit, but me personally, I'm not a huge fan of. And that's Nosedive, which I'm going to put just right in okay next to White Bear. So for me, Nosedive, once again, like most Black Mirror episodes, it's an interesting concept. People rating each other and that having an effect on, what you can do, where you can go, things like that. Kind of like, China's rating index system, right? But I don't know. For me, Nosedive, it's just, I don't know. I don't really vibe with it. Like, the ending's very interesting, and seeing her blow up on her friend at the wedding, and seeing how she reacts to all these scores and kind of breaking free of all that. But the adventure to me, which is most of this episode, it's just not very interesting. Like, getting stuck and without a car and like having to get in the trucker's car, things like that. to me, it was just the pacing was a little off. I didn't really follow it the whole way through. I felt like through most of the episode, I was kind of dozing off a little bit. Because really at the beginning, you see what the idea is, right? The rating system. And then, they kind of planned it throughout the episode, but really, if you take that out, it doesn't really have much going for it, in my opinion. And, the acting's all right, so that's also just So next up, guys, we have Season 3, Episode 2, Playtest. And for Playtest, I'm just going to put it squarely in a good. I think Playtest was, very interesting concept, very engaging because of the horror aspects kind of throughout, the whole episode, which really kept you on your toes. But the reason I can't really give it more than very good or God tier is just because the way they incorporated the technology was kind of, like, you kind of guessed it early on. You kind of might have guessed, oh, he's in a simulation this whole time, like it's all in his head. So it was one of the more predictable Black Mirror episodes, at least for me, which kind of took away from a lot of the greatness of it. But I think the reason it's still a good episode is it's just a very fun episode. It's very engaging. It's scary at times. It's, otherworldly at times. And I don't know. I also enjoy the actor, the main guy, a lot. He seems like he knows what he's doing. So yeah. Playtest, a solid good. And next up, guys, we have Season 3, Episode 3, Shut Up and Dance, which I'm going to give just an okay. Shut Up and Dance is an interesting episode because it's another one of those Black Mirror episodes where it kind of strings you along the whole time, and then there's a huge twist in the end. Here being that you're kind of wondering, like, oh, well, this kid did something online that's a little bad, but, why is he so worried about it? And then you learn, hey, it was child porn, which obviously is going to get him screwed. So, I don't know. The reveal at the end was pretty crazy, and it definitely goes like, oh, shoot, that brings everything together. But, I don't know. I just didn't enjoy watching it that much. Kenny as an actor, he just made me feel weird the whole time, which maybe was kind of the point. But, yeah, I don't know. The ending's really good, but besides that, it's just okay. It's not really a great watch, just a good ending. So our next episode is Season 3, Episode 4, San Junipero, which I'm going to put right in very good. So San Junipero, it honestly isn't really as much of my kind of episode as other episodes are, just because maybe the action's not there as much and the idea's not quite as interesting to me. But overall, it's just a super, super well-directed episode. The actors do great. And, the idea of kind of living your life over and over, being so close to death at the same time, I don't know, it was a very interesting episode, that's for sure. And it really does make you think. You do genuinely feel like these two women have a connection as they're going through this story, and the idea that one of them lost their husband is kind of heartbreaking, and then them meeting in real life and they're so old and different but like still share that bond. It's honestly just a really good episode. I think it's another one of those episodes you could show anyone and they're not going to get freaked out by some crazy thing happening, really. It's just a really good episode that I think exemplifies that Black Mirror can be more than just crazy twists and technology. It can also be like a very well-written story with really good characters and a great arc. And now for Episode 5 of Season 3, we have Men Against Fire, which I'm going to give a solid... this one's honestly hard, guys. It's hard to say. It's between okay and good, but this one I'm going to give just a good. And that's because this episode just kind of is high-octane action, once again, and like Black Mirror's known for, another twist, right? So here we follow this soldier that, he's engaging in combat with these like scary monsters that, are terrorizing all the townspeople, right? But what he learns is he has this implant in his brain that's making these people look like monsters when really they're just normal people. Which, it's kind of, once again, a little bit predictable, but overall, fun story. I think the action's very fun. The actor, he seems to play his part pretty well. And, seeing the twist and how he reacts to saying, oh my God, I've been killing innocent people this whole time is, I don't know, it's engaging. It's fun. It's a Black Mirror episode. It does its job for sure. One thing I didn't like that much about it was, I don't know, his reaction to one of his, the girl he was on the mission with that he hits because, she's about to kill this innocent woman. I understand the idea of like hitting her, but also I felt like in a real situation, would he have handled that a little differently? Could he have kind of calmed her down and maybe talked to her a little? like what I'm trying to say is I feel like a lot of times stories like this, they'll kind of cop out by saying, oh, the guy knocks his friends out and he knows something they don't and they just can't learn because they're too ignorant. But I thought it would have been kind of cool to see a story where you could kind of try and convince the people around you of what you're seeing. But, you know, it didn't go that way, and because of that, it's just good to me. And next up, guys, we're going to have one that you guys might not agree with me with, and that's Season 3, Episode 6, Hated in the Nation, which I'm actually going to put at God tier. And I know, a lot of you guys are probably like, what? Like, I don't really necessarily agree with that. And it's definitely a personal opinion of mine, but just to be honest, I just really, really like that episode, and I don't even really know why necessarily. The idea of having, you know, these bees that go around helping society that you kind of turn rogue because of, you know, a crazy hacker group, that's interesting in itself, but there's probably episodes with more interesting ideas, right? But I don't know, to me it was just such a good episode. Like, I honestly felt like I was watching like CSI and Black Mirror plus like, I don't even know, just something awesome. Like, I just, like, this was one of the only episodes where I was very, very engaged the whole time. It was super interesting. It felt very real, like something that I could see happening. And I don't know, just the characters they acted, I don't know, it felt like real life and it could happen. And it was just super interesting. Everything about the episode is just, it's fast paced. I don't know, it's cool. I like it a lot. Like I said, I'm sure most of you guys might not agree that it's a God tier episode, but to me personally, I thought it was super fun and a great episode of Black Mirror. So now, guys, we're getting into kind of the most recent big season of Black Mirror, and that's Season 4. So to start off, we're going to go with Episode 1, which is USS Callister, which I'm going to put right in very good. And that's just because, once again, USS Callister is just a very well-directed, acted, and shot episode that's has a very interesting premise that's, you know, kind of bases itself on Star Trek. But more in the grounded reality, it bases itself on this guy that, you know, can go into a fake world but can bring people's consciousness in. So, I don't know. I think it's a smart idea. The characters are super interesting. When you see the new girl come in and, you know, he's kind of has an affinity to her, but you know, but then he kind of learns to hate her and treat her wrong in the simulation again. I don't know. It's a very fun episode. Obviously, the Star Trek references are very cool, and that kind of carries the episode in a lot of ways. But even without that, it's the idea in itself and the Black Mirror aspects of the episode are really great in and of themselves, which is kind of why I think this episode is very good, even regardless of the Star Trek stuff it adds on. That's just kind of a nice touch. So now, guys, we're on episode 2 of season 4, and that's Archangel, which I'm going to put at okay. Archangel was, I mean, like I said, it was all right. The problem I have with it is it kind of relied too much on previous technological concepts that Black Mirror has used, which, you know, helps to kind of create this shared universe idea that it looks like they're going for. But at the same time, it felt kind of like we've been here and you've already done it better. With things like, you know, White Christmas. So, you know, watching this girl have to have all these things hidden from her at a young age and then grow up to learn, like, no, like, I wanted to see all that. It kind of ruined me. It's, like all Black Mirror episodes, and as I've said, I think a million times, it's interesting. But, I don't know, it's the actors I'm not a huge fan of. It's boring to me. It's, like I said, it feels like you've already seen this in Black Mirror. But only now, this time it's not quite as good, so you're kind of like, what is happening? Yeah, about the only thing that I really get out of this episode is it, you know, once again, thinking of a cool idea, like, oh, like, what if you block children from not seeing anything bad and just hid them from everything? You know, and how that could be really bad for society, which is why I'll move it up from boring to okay, because I think it does ask some interesting questions to the audience. But anything beyond okay, nah, the episode's just all right. And so next up, guys, we have Season 4, Episode 3, Crocodile, which for a lot of people is a very not fun episode. For me as well, it is a little disturbing, but I think it has some plus points as well, which is why I'm going to put Crocodile firmly at good. So, like I said, I know a lot of people don't like this episode, maybe because it's a little too dark, and they just, maybe they don't like the actors and things. But for me, I thought it was interesting. I thought starting the show out, you know, in this cold environment and watching, you know, this crazy event happen was kind of a good start. It really got your attention very quickly, watching these two people kind of dispose of this person they just killed, and when before they were just completely innocent people. And then kind of just watching this woman, when she's older, kind of descent into madness when she finds out that, you know, her boyfriend at the time kind of wants to spill the beans on everything. And now she's found so much success and so much fame that she would have to give up so much, and she tried to put that all in her past, right? So she kind of goes to the furthest lengths possible to, I quote unquote, save her humanity, and in the process she loses it all, right? I mean, the end of this episode is literally her killing a blind baby that she didn't even need to kill because they didn't see anything, right? Yeah, but overall, I think it's a very well-directed episode, very well shot. I like the actors. I think everything about it is really good. It's just the only things that bring it down is it is a little dark, and kind of you don't feel good after watching it. It kind of sours the mood for sure. But yeah, you know, besides that, it's a good episode. Next on the list, guys, we have Season 4, Episode 4, Hang the DJ, which I'm going to give a very good. Hang the DJ is another one of those Black Mirror episodes that you could show your mom, just because it's you know, a lot less scary, like Crocodile, or, you know, messed up. So it really just follows the story of, you know, these two lovebirds, I guess, kind of using the service that matches each other for a certain time period, and then after which they have to leave, right? Because the service is kind of choosing who's your best match, you know, and we have to keep matching with people to figure that out with the algorithm. And I don't know, I think the two actors have a lot of chemistry. They work well together. Watching them find so much love between each other, but then realizing they have to separate because the app told them to, you know, it's kind of interesting. And then, you know, saying, hey, no, we're going to break out of this, and we're going to get together and leave, and like, we don't need this system. And then that kind of being the deciding factor in real life that matches you together. I don't know, like, and once again, it has a cool twist. At the end, you can see this one coming, but the reason I'll give it more leeway is just because the entire other part of the episode is so good and so engaging, and this is kind of more of like a heartwarming Black Mirror episode, which you don't get very often. But here it works really well, and because it incorporates the technology, you know, into the episode and how that can affect people a lot. And yeah, you know, having an upbeat episode every once in a while is pretty good. And yeah, this one I thought was very well done. And so now, guys, we just hit episode 5 of season 4, and that is Metalhead, which I'm going to put right in boring. So I know a lot of other people also don't like this episode, and I think that's for good reason. One, it's in black and white, which I know like film critics probably love that, but I don't think many other people do. So that kind of, I don't know, I can't get past the black and white thing. I don't like it at all. I know it's like an artsy thing, but I think it makes it worse. Honestly, I like seeing a lot of color. But besides that, I'm not only putting it in boring because it's black and white. Also, the whole episode is just boring. It's just, you're watching this girl be chased by this dog thing, like, you know, robot dog, killer dog, but it's just not engaging. Like, yeah, she's running away and she's fighting for survival, but the whole time I honestly was never like, oh my god, is she gonna make it? I honestly was like, when is this dog gonna kill her? Holy crap, get me out of here. Like, that was honestly my only reaction to this episode, and really that's all that needs to be said. I don't know, it's not that fun. It doesn't tie in technology as much like other episodes. It doesn't make you think. It just makes you sleep. So yeah, that's Metalhead. And now we have the last episode of season 4, which is Black Museum, the 6th episode. And a lot of people, I feel like, think this episode is just okay, but for me, I actually find this episode very good. And for me, that's just because having those 3 different stories all in one was kind of, I liked it. I liked having more things to think about all in one episode, right? You don't get that many episodes of Black Mirror every season, especially with the new one, right? Only 3. So here I was kind of excited to be like, wow, look how many things we're getting to think about and like contemplate about, like how these technologies affect us and, you know, really have an effect on society as a whole. And also the actors were once again really good. You know, the guy that owned the museum, he was very creepy, very weird. And him just walking around and telling her all about all these stories, I thought he portrayed a very good storyteller on camera. It definitely came through in all the shooting as well. And, you know, once again, there's a cool twist at the end where you find out he kind of trapped her father, and then she kind of turns the pipe on him and traps him for eternity of just getting shocked, right? So it's an interesting ending. And I think a very fun episode. Specifically, I really liked the story about the doctor that, learns to want to hurt himself to, feel. But I don't know. I thought it was a super interesting episode, very fun, very thought-provoking, and I thought it was a pretty good ending to season 4. I know a lot of people didn't like it that much, but for me, it was just a ton of fun. And so now, guys, we're finally at the last episode that Black Mirror actually just released kind of recently, which seems like it doesn't really tie into any of the seasons. It's kind of its own thing. And that's Black Mirror Bandersnatch. And for me, I don't know how you guys are going to feel about this, but I'm going to just put Bandersnatch at a good. I feel like this is a very divisive episode. You either really love it or you really hate it. And for me, I kind of just fall squarely in the middle. I think the idea that Bandersnatch had of this interactive experience in Netflix, something they were trying I think it was a very admirable goal. And I think they did a decent job. One of the things I actually really liked about this episode was I watched it with a bunch of friends and family. So the whole time we were all screaming and trying to figure out what to do. And I think that heightened the experience a lot. But the problem I have with it is if you take that all away, there's a bunch of problems with Bandersnatch. For example, early on, if you make the wrong choice, the whole thing just ends and it starts right over. And I remember we actually did that early on, and that kind of made my heart sink because I was we're right at the beginning and you already broke it. I was really hoping that the experience would be no matter what you were choosing, things were happening and there were these crazy tie-ins, which there were, but no matter what you did, and there was I was hoping it never cut corners, is what I'm saying, which I think it did. There were some choices you could make. In fact, they kind of all got to a point where it eventually the story just goes, well, you kind of made the wrong choice, let's go back, which is kind of exactly what I was hoping it wouldn't do. But I think overall it did kind of push the medium forward, and hopefully Netflix can try more things like this. Now that Bandersnatch seemed to do pretty well. But I mean, the thing is, overall, Bandersnatch, I think it was good because it was a good first step in this new interactive medium for Netflix, and it definitely grounded them and showed them it could work. But it's definitely not anything to write home about. I don't think this changes the medium because it was so good. It definitely doesn't. And it's just an okay episode that's good because it's so different, honestly. But yeah. That's it, guys. Thanks for watching. I know there was a few cuts here and there. I just started the YouTube channel up, so still working on filming as I go and all the editing tricks and stuff like that. And as we go, I'm sure I'll be getting some more graphics and things for you guys. But yeah, no, that's it. I wanted to let you guys know what I thought of all the previous Black Mirror episodes before the new ones came out. So hopefully when those comes out, I can give you guys a review too. I'll make those a little more in-depth. Talk about the characters and what happens and things like that. Here I just wanted to kind of lay out my thoughts and also get a video out before I start prepping all my other things for E3 and things like that, because I know you guys probably want to see some gaming content. But yeah, besides that, guys, thank you very much for watching. It means a lot. If you can like and subscribe, that also would be super dope. And if you guys want to see me streaming live, feel free to follow me on twitch.tv/franklygaming as well. But without further ado, thank you guys very much. Signing out.